I would really like to see the immediate reaction that would actually even out the bill, because I just really think that they actually abuse their powers as watchers and wardens and guardians who are privileged to keep a weather eye on me. They sometimes experience many different occasions that actually reflect their humanness by mixing their hatred and abomination and aversion and enmity against me and my mom and to me and my mom. And they actually disguise them as if they were being very neutral. At every turn of their hatred, I actually sense that they feel very, disgusted by listening to or eavesdropping on my mother's thinking. And they just really wanted to actually dump this on me by actually, portraying me as an avatar or even as a doppelganger of my mom. Even though I really respect my mom, no one actually should, hold her accountable for whatever type of a silly way of thinking or just a figment of imagination by my mother. No one should actually, make this kind of choice. Each person makes one's own choices by thinking about one's own fancy or flight of ideas. That's not really a wrongdoing. Flight of a fancy should never actually punish other people to the extreme degree, even though that type of line has never been indicated in the Constitution because of their faction or cult-like group egoism. I never appreciate that, because I just actually sense that they could not actually stomach the very fact that my mom actually had such a lofty pride in me by bragging about my understanding or my early literacy, by constantly actually tackling the stupidity of my mom as a daughter, the person who actually had no discretion for what's right because of one's own obsessive love for one's own daughter. Then they actually, blamed my mom heavily for being such a materialistic lady. Because, they actually reflected and mirrored exact sentiment they actually harbored, the very exact sentiment, saying that even though I had zero interest in any dentist, they even actually say that just because of my mother once upon a time praised the dentist or ophthalmologist because of the rich people around my mom, then they thought that I would emulate the very feelings harbored by my mother. No, I have zero interest in actually, meeting any person who would actually profess that job or occupation, or even I made a mistake by actually, having a great idea about the Volvo, possessed by one dentist we used to know. But that does not mean I wanted to actually replace my dad with that person. I never actually said that. Although I truly actually thought about one attorney dad. Attorney, that means lawyer dad, who was really rich. I thought about that. Oh, it would be really nice to go to Disneyland in LA. Is that really the Disneyland or Disney World? I got confused. Doesn't matter. Who cares about it at this moment? Is it true? I actually had a lofty idea of even actually going to the Disneyland. That was really the case. But that does not mean I actually really wanted to be like them at all costs. They thought that I would actually constantly be the person who would actually diminish the value of a human dignity by looking down on the people from pauperization or destitution, by actually turning my back away from these people. But that's not necessarily the case. People actually can experience different ideas by going through evolution or even actually having a change of minds. But my problem is they actually had such an obvious double standard, which you would never evaluate the proper development and the psychological steps taken by me with justice. Because whenever I actually demonstrate the chameleon-like behaviors, that would actually be highly praised amongst them, then they would actually talk to me in this way. Oh, she is such a pathetic liar and a pathological psychopath who would actually immediately change one's behavior. Who would actually change one's behavior with no atonement or remorse or conscience, right? I mean, if someone amongst them would actually do the same thing, then they would say that, oh, this person is so talented for socializing by being a people person who would be so good at getting along with other people, this type of a rendition is very disgusting. Because I'm actually really good at using a finest tweezer to pick out their own distorted logic and a failure and a fallacy of a morality. I'm really good at it. And I think that, this is time for me to actually speak out by hiring a mediator who can actually overview the cases by opening up the litigation files to deliver justice. Not on behalf of me, for the righteousness. Because, I believe that my mother was a sacrifice, unnecessarily. Because of their distorted morality. They thought that my mom should also be, equally punished for this type of wrongful ideas, whatever things they actually listened to. Because once you actually open up a chest of Pandora, no one actually would be clean to stay above the fray by not being guilty. No, I don't think so. If you ever actually, dig some more, if you ever actually dig up on other people's thinking or internal value system, then you would actually notice that there are so many flawed issues, right? There are so many conflicting ideas and values that would actually make a whole lot of chaotic situation to experience apocalypse of values and ideas. That would be very possible. I don't really want to be judged by them. I don't want to be ruled by their own group-minded way of thinking that actually, monitors no justice. And that's really the reason I need to actually hire a legal notary who could actually conduct an evaluation to approve this type of distorted morality and morals that have been so part of the system for so many years. I think this has been the problem. I'm not lying. I'm actually more than willing to actually reach out to any reasonable parties who could truly actually make a firm determination to reopen up the case file by looking into the actual system that has been the representative of all things wrong. I'm not lying. Not actually me being, walking and talking to just versus seeing the banality of evil. No, don't try to actually see that. You're really the one who have already committed so many wrong things by dismissing and discounting the important factors, by actually cherry picking and hand creating things that you like to emphasize. You're the one who already actually blow your own pots with the excessive emphasis on it. It's time for me to actually turn the tables, and I want to actually hire a very trustworthy and reliable mediator who could actually conduct a thorough investigation, which could also equally be powerful enough to be admitted to the court system by resorting to the legality, not your own sentimental weeping justice. This type of poetic system that would actually be full of group-minded egoism should actually be flushed, because I would actually prove it otherwise.